I am Deepshikha, and today I'm going to talk about disaster recovery. Any IT manager has to survey and keep a check of how prepared are they for the unknown. Is their plan for the contingency and the disaster recovery good enough for them to keep going on? There needs to be a big risk management system. The IT manager has to bring in a plan, a contingency plan that can work for them during the time of any disaster. First of all, he or she needs to know if their current plan and setting are good enough. They need to know if their IT department is really keeping the documentations. Are they maintaining the right amount and right place for the data? Are the um, emergency situations being considered, and how long will they uh, have to wait, or will how long will it take for them to recover the data they have lost? Then they need to know if the backup files are effective enough. Are they kept in proper places, and are they being backed in enough number of places to recover easily after any sort of disaster that happens? Then one more thing that is important to know is if their systems are being tested very oftenly, because there is not just man-made or any natural disasters. There are also sort of errors or faulty systems in the firm or the companies itself, which can cause damage. So they need to know if the passwords are strong enough, if the firewalls are working fine, if the routers are in proper condition. Next comes the prevention. As it is well said that prevention is better than cure, so we need to have complex passwords for our any secure data. We need to have firewalls to prevent any sort of viruses or trojans to come into malware, and AV protection should be there. The latest packages for the services and the critical updates should be installed. The BPP lockdowns are done or not. The employers should know, the IT managers should know if the people who are working from home have a well secured um, AV and firewall installed system or not, if they are working on a safer smartphone or safer tablets or not, if they should know how CS client setting recorded and AV rules are being used and followed. So this all these are pretty much a part of prevention. Next we talk about effective restore. Even if we have a backup, even if we have stored our data in one place, and what if that backup is also being um, trapped in the disaster? What if that thing is also influenced by the disaster? So it is not just one place where we should have the data. It can be kept on the cloud somewhere, physically away from the workplace, somewhere in good enough places where a disaster is very unlikely to come, happen, or take place. So in the events of emergency, how long can any company go on, or a business go on, without that particular amount of data, or any particular loss, or anything that has been caused due to any disaster? That is to be kept in mind, and then keeping those things in the list, we should then prepare our plans and contingency plans. So often full backup has been taken, but it is not in multiple copies, as I said. So that is very important. We should know the previous versions of the flat files are maintained or not. uh, Another thing that is important is to know that what is the critical data, and then separate it and archive and duplicate that data um, time to time. So knowing the business critical systems, that uh, what is one thing the business cannot live without, outlining the main areas of concern, identifying the best way of protecting them, establishing level of priority, and then uh, what needs to be online on the go all the time first. So do you have a copy of the files, the software that would be needed in the emergency, the license keys, that are the priorities for any business to work, to keep going on? Do we really have the copy of them? Then for all this to be done, we need to know a level of disaster. We need to know that what amount of disaster can be there. There are three levels of disaster. First, where the building or the company is inaccessible. Second is the area is inaccessible, like a floor is being flooded or a room is being flooded, so the area inaccessible. The outage, so in in that concern, if the power is out, the internet is out, the some sort of facilities is out, so that is another uh, sort of disaster. So each disaster have their own level, and according to that, we need to have a different sort of contingency plan. So outlining the contingency plan is important. Opening the lines for communication, establishing the priority, and identifying the DR sites, making the latest updates and restores, and then knowing what hardwares need to be restored at first place. All this comes under the contingency plan. Next, when we are uh, mostly done with the contingency plan, we need to have a red box checklist. Why we call it a red box checklist is because it is like a first aid for our business. We have to maintain a proper amount of list and in an order, so that um, as if we have a scratch, first we clean it, then we put the ointment, and then we prevent it from being under any sort of pressure. So that is same with any business. We need to know the operating system disks. We need to know that any emergency repair boot disks are there, then any third party drivers are needed, exchange media, backup media, antiviruses, firewalls, um, individual software installations, current copy of audit in the red box. So we need that box as a first aid for our business. Keeping a proper plan beforehand and analyzing the risks and other things is the main thing we need to do, so that um, later on we don't have to regret and then end up with losing very critical data. So this is all for today, and thank you for watching this video.